Hello, this is a quick overview of some of the online materials about processing. I think a great place to start is processing.org because they have a whole lot of stuff there. This is where you can download it, and when you download it, they have their own IDE, which looks like this. This is actually the Arduino one, but it's the processing one is exactly the same. And it gets rid of a lot of the boilerplate code, so you can just start typing processing commands into here, and that will compile and run it. I really don't like this IDE very much, so that's not what we use in our class. We use Eclipse, and I'll show you how I do that in a second. But back here at the processing site, they've got a nice set of tutorials here, starting out with just what is processing and how do you set up the environment, and then how's it all structured, and then it starts with the coordinate system and shapes and colors and objects. And it gets quite complex. There's stuff about image processing. Later on, 2D transformations using the OpenGL bindings. Here, the 3D ones as well, right? OpenGL. So there's a lot of great stuff, and these tutorials are quite good. They've even got a little bit about how do you think algorithmically. So anatomy of a program. It says, how do you analyze a problem and break it down into steps that a computer can do? And it's really quite a nice overview of how to think about these things. So I think this one's about drawing n-gons. How can you make a method to draw n-gons? So these are a nice resource. Going backwards, play with examples is also a nice place to look. So these are all of the kinds of commands that processing has, and then down in this section there's kind of examples by topic rather than individual command. So if you want like a multiple particle system, this involves a lot of different processing commands, but you click on it and you can just run it right in the browser here. And then if you scroll down a little bit, this is the code that's being run, so you can kind of see how it works. So this is another kind of great place to start, and you can build lessons around these individual code examples. What else? They've got a nice references here, so if you just want to look up some documentation. There should be a Java doc available somewhere, but usually I just use this one. It's a little bit friendlier. There's also lots of libraries that work together with processing for doing all kinds of different things. So you can sort of poke your way through here as well. You can see lots of different categories. So there's stuff about 3D and about animation, about data. Processing is also used to communicate with the Arduino, so you can do a lot of kind of sensor-related things. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into most of these. There's just a lot of them, and there are new ones being added all the time. Pathfinding in 2 and 3D, that's pretty cool. A lot of simulation stuff. Box 2D is really, really cool. Box 2D is sort of a fully featured physics library so that you can do all kinds of cool stuff. AI for 2D games, that's pretty cool. So there's a lot to look at there. What else? So www.complexification.net. If you go here, this is a whole bunch of algorithmically generated art. There's just a lot of these. So, I don't know, let's look at this one. So you click on one, this is generated with processing, and you can open an applet. And then you can watch it be algorithmically generated right there in front of you. Let's let it keep generating for a second. So if you click source code, okay, I didn't know it was going to close. Anyway, if you click on source code, again, you can see the code that's doing that generation. And there's a lot of really cool artworks in here. Daniel Schiffman has done a lot of work in processing, and this book, The Nature of Code, is a really great book, and you can also read it online for free. So it covers vectors and forces. Processing comes with a p-vector class. And so he takes you through building particle systems, and so you can do a bunch of neat kind of physically based stuff and fractals. So this is also like a really complete, a really complete tutorial set that you could use. openprocessing.org. This is just sort of like a paste bin almost for different people's projects. So you can browse different projects. There's a whole bunch of books related to processing, which you can look at in here for different purposes. So here's creative coding and generative art. But there's a lot of kind of other ones for making interactive data visualization and so forth. Yeah, visualizing data down here. So these books are a really great resource. This one is not particularly well organized for browsing, but you can search for particular things you're interested in, like pathfinding or what have you. And again, just like the examples in the processing website, it'll have a little example that runs in your applet, that runs in browser, and then you can see the source code. Okay, so let's look maybe really quickly at how to use this within an IDE that's not their IDE. So if you go to, again, processing.org, whoops, what's happened here? Oh. If you go to processing.org and you download it, there's a zip file. And inside that zip file, there's a bunch of jar files. And the one that you're looking for is core.jar. So if you make a new Eclipse project, under Properties, Java Build Path, Libraries, see I've put core.jar, and it's in the kind of root processing folder inside the core library folder. And core.jar is, as it sounds like, all of the kind of core functionality for processing. And then all you need to do is whatever class you want to be your main class, you just have it extend papplet. Papplet stands for processing. And then the rest of the structure is the same as any processing program. So you have a setup that runs once at the very beginning, and draw is called in a loop. What's nice about that is it makes it like a lot easier to create other classes and include them in sort of normal Java ways, whereas if you're using their IDE, they try and simplify a lot of the process, which is great for people who don't know Java. But you wonder kind of what magic code is being added if you know Java. So it's nicer to be able to use this. Okay, I think that's a nice overview of the online materials that I know.